What's up, everybody? My name's Chance, and today we're going to be playing a Selesnya Token Reclamation deck. That was a little difficult to get out, but nonetheless we did. And I found this to be a very interesting deck and a very interesting idea, and this is actually the first idea that I got from Wilderness Reclamation, as opposed to all the people that thought of, doing the Bant mid-ranges with the fairy and all that sort of ridiculous stuff where you just sort of break the game with Nexus of Fate and all that. This was my original idea on how to use Wilderness Reclamation, which obviously is nowhere near as good as far as winning goes, but as far as fun goes, I think it's very, very much higher than just the typical Nexus of Fate Wilderness Reclamation, null your opponents into just surrendering eventually. So yeah, we're going to hop right into the deck tech or the deck breakdown, and then we'll get right into the games. So starting us off today, we have 2 Dawn of Hopes. This is going to serve as some creature generation as well as mana sink for whenever you do get your Wilderness Reclamation out. Now the base idea for this deck was to use Wilderness Reclamation to cast out things like March of Multitudes, to cast out Spore Swarms, so that way we can get out tokens at instant speed, so essentially on our opponent's turn after having played tokens at sorcery speed or after playing creatures at sorcery speed, whatever it may be, on our turn. We can still turn around and create more tokens on their turn to really stack up our board. And Wilderness Reclamation alongside of March of the Multitudes can actually cause some really, really big March of the Multitudes. Say you have 6 lands out, you have 2 Wilderness Reclamation, tap all 6, first Wilderness goes off, tap all 6 again, second Wilderness goes off, tap all 6 again, you're up to 18 mana with only 6 land out. And yeah, that's what, 15 tokens for March of the Multitudes for 6 mana. That's crazy, right? So that's where the base idea came from for this deck. So you're going to see things like Dawn of Hope or Biogenic Ooze, things we can just sort of sink our mana into to create more tokens and sort of keep this generator and this engine and this machine of tokens going. So moving on, we do have 2 Justiciar's Portal. Now I found this works very well as a white source dive down, right? Because dive down essentially makes your creature hexproof. And hexproof protects from everything except for board wipes. Same thing here. Justiciar's Portal protects you from everything except for board wipes. Now obviously if you could use Justiciar's Portal before a board wipe, you're going to exile your creature and he's going to come back, and then the board wipe's going to go off and wipe your creature off the board, so it's not really going to do anything. However, if you use Justiciar's Portal after your creature's been targeted with anything, whether it be exile or damage or whatever it may be, the damage or the exile or the whatever, is not going to go off. Your creature's going to get exiled and come back, therefore no longer being targeted. So it's essentially like a dive down. So I found having 2 in the deck to keep your Biogenic Ooze, even though they will lose their counters, I feel like keeping them on the field is a lot better than just keeping their counters. So, and essentially by the time you use Justiciar's Portal, either one, it'll be as soon as you cast it out, right? So your Biogenic Ooze will be a 2/2 anyways, or maybe a 3/3 if they try to destroy it 1 turn into its life on the battlefield. Then losing 1 counter, right, or even losing 2 counters is definitely worth keeping your Biogenic Ooze on the field. So, or as well as Tendershoot, it's not going to lose anything, it's just going to get to stay on the field, as well as Tristani. So I found it's a nice little fit into the white decks that really need sort of a dive down effect. So I feel like people are greatly overlooking this card, and especially at a common. 2 mana is a little steep compared to dive down's 1, but for its effect, and considering that we're playing with green mana as well, so 2 mana is not too costly, especially since we have Wilderness Reclamation and this is cast at instant speed. It really shouldn't be a problem to use to protect your monsters, or creatures rather, sorry. Too much Yu-Gi-Oh growing up. Nonetheless, moving on, we have 2 copies of Pride of the Conquerors. Obviously, if we're getting out a lot of tokens, a lot of creatures, we're going to want some way to make them scarier than just a bunch of 1/1s. So Pride of the Conquerors is a good at instant speed of doing that, as long as we are ascended, which generally if we're swinging in with tokens, unless it's like 1 or 2 damage there and all their creatures are tapped, then we're going to want to buff them up in some way, and Pride of Conquerors is the perfect way to do that. So and we should have the 10 permanents if we're using this card. If not, then we're probably in a bad situation anyways. So moving on, we have 2 copies of Seal Away to deal with some unfavorable opponents. Now, most of them you can chum block with your tokens and be perfectly fine. But this is for the ones that have trample or the flyers that you can't get to. So 2 copies of Seal Away is definitely needed in the deck, and we also have 2 copies of Conclave just to get some more removal in the deck. You guys know that I'm not too keen on playing so much removal that the deck is just a lean, mean removing machine. But I do think that you still need to have some, otherwise, you know, your win rate's just going to plummet. Just plain as that. A lot of the meta decks that you guys see have tons of removal or tons of utility cards that serve as removal or something else. And obviously that's the smartest way to play, right? So then you're versatile. You can sort of change and adapt to whatever you're playing up against. My decks are more based around fun, so four cards for removal is perfectly fine. We do have some combat tricks, so maybe a little bit more there. But nonetheless, moving on, we have 2 copies of Saproling Migration. Obviously, this is sorcery speed, but if you're playing Saproling Migration out as a kicked effect, you're paying 6 mana, which obviously could be all of your mana pretty easily, right? And then you're going to get the Wilderness Reclamation, so you'll get all that mana right back and be able to throw down a Spore Swarm right after it. So you got 3 plus 4, you already got 7 out on the field, which is, you know, fucking fantastic. Moving on, we have 2 Mentor of the Meeks. Obviously, we're going to be throwing down a lot of creatures that have less than 2 powers. Actually, all of our creatures have less than 2 powers coming out. Biogenic Ooze, or 2 or less, I'm sorry. That is important to note that it's 2 or less, so can be 2. Biogenic Ooze, Tendershoot, Tristani, all of those activate Mentor of the Meek, as well as obviously all of our tokens coming out. So, pretty good little card there, and paying 1 for some card draw is, I mean, it's hard to beat, so... Moving on, we have 2 Unbreakable Formations. I found this card is excellent in a token deck. Obviously, your opponents, as soon as they see that you're playing tokens, if they have a Ritual of Soot, if they have a Cry of the Carnarium, they're going to try and throw it down. This obviously helps to, well, basically just negate those effects, which token decks really haven't had too much of an answer to those sort of effects, to the Golden Demise and things like that. Minus Joined Shields, you know, they all gain hexproof and indestructible until end of turn, but that's 5 mana and that's really steep. So the fact that now token decks have Unbreakable Formation, which also can give your tokens a +1/+1 counter and vigilance, is just really big. There was Song of Freyalise, but it takes 3 turns to get it out, so your opponent sort of has some turns to draw and get some enchantment removal, as opposed to this coming down as an instant speed. So really good card there, and I found it works excellent in the deck. Moving on, we have 2 Gift of Paradise and 2 Grow from the Ashes. These are to help us ramp a little bit. Gift of Paradise obviously works really well with Wilderness Reclamation, because whenever it untaps, whenever the land that is untapped, obviously you're going to get to tap it again for 2 more mana. So it's really good to have the enchantment effects on your lands if you're playing Wilderness Reclamation. And then Grow from the Ashes just helps us to get out more lands in those dire need times where we're sitting at, you know, 3, 4, or 5, where we really want to boost ahead. So we've already talked about the Conclave Tribunal, so I'll move on. Spore Swarm, again, this is just sort of the base of the deck with Wilderness Reclamation. This is the whole point. We do only have 2 copies, but I've had to slim it out. Spore Swarm's just not that great of a card. It's an interesting combination, you know, pairing token generation I'm sorry, I can't speak today. Token generation with you know, untap all your lands you control. I do find that very interesting, especially cards like Dawn of Hope, right, where it's just a pay and you don't have to tap this enchantment. You can pay that as many times as much mana as you have. So same thing from what I said earlier. Say you're tapping all your lands, except you don't have a March of the Multitudes, you just have a Dawn of Hope, but you still tap out for 18 mana. You can spawn up 4 White Soldier creature tokens. Now, is that fantastic? No, but if you don't have a better play and you're just trying to sink your mana into something, that's excellent. So, moving on, that's similarly the case with this card right here, Biogenic Ooze. 4 mana, create a 2/2 green ooze creature token. So, say you don't have a March to sink your mana into, say you don't have Dawn of Hope to sink your mana into, Biogenic Ooze is wonderful, excellent. You know, create a bunch of ooze tokens. Fantastic. I was running Biogenic Upgrade a little bit in this deck. I found it doesn't really pay off well, as it really only helps your Biogenic Ooze or in the rare scenarios where you've managed to get an Unbreakable Formation down before the Biogenic upgrade. But I found that most cases, whenever that happens, you're going to win anyways, so that's really not necessary, and it was just sort of too costly with it in the deck, so we did end up cutting it out. Moving on, we have 2 copies of Regenesis. Now, the interesting thing about this card is we can get back our Wilderness Reclamation. Obviously, whenever an opponent sees us playing it and sees what we're doing with it, or anyone that's played the game and knows what the card does in general, it's probably going to be gunning for it, right? Trying to remove it some way, some shape, somehow. So Regenesis helps us get it back onto the field, or it helps us get back a Biogenic Ooze, or a Tendershoot Dryad, or a Tristani. You know, all these really, really big cards, Regenesis helps us, and it's at instant speed, you know, luckily enough. So, again, it's not fantastic, but it does help serve the purpose of playing this deck, which is, you know, pretty much the point of all the decks that I do. I just want to have fun, and I try to shape this idea that I have for a deck, and then hopefully you guys can take a little bit from it and go on and create some similar ones, maybe some better ones, which is why I always ask for suggestions back, because I find these, you know, janky ideas to be the most fun in Magic, these sort of wider ideas that people wouldn't really think of. Nonetheless, we have 2 copies of Tendershoot Dryad. Obviously, this is going to make all of your... I'm sorry. Let me say this right for all of those of you that comment down in the YouTube comments. Saprolings. Saprolings. That's what it is. I call it Saprolings. Y'all say Saprolings. Real quick, I'll just explain why I do that. I'm from the South. For those of you who couldn't tell from my accent, so Saprolings, really easy. My mouth is really lazy, if you guys couldn't tell, so the easier it is to say things, my mouth's generally going to take that route. Saprolings, it's just a lot of movement up there, so yeah, moving on from that little side backstory. We do have 2 joined shields. Like I said earlier, it is a little bit costly, which is why we only have 2 of them, but we have a Wilderness Reclamation in the deck anyway, so we're probably going to have the 5 mana at instant speed. And untapping all your creatures you control, it's a okay combat trick, but we can do it for a lot less than 5 if we really wanted to. However, the gaining hexproof and indestructible until end of turn is excellent. Like I said, that's going to keep you from the effects like Cry of Canarium, or actually I don't know if it works against Cry of Canarium because it's just a -2/-2. I believe it is, because your creature is technically destroyed when it gets to 0 health. As far as the game mechanics work. So giving your creature indestructible in theory should prevent it from dying to Cry of Canarium, but I'm not going to give you any 100% on that, as I haven't had that effect yet. But Ritual of Soot obviously is going to get canceled out. Things like what's the red and white Deafening Clarion. Obviously, it's not going to matter anymore. So a lot of those sweeper effects, Gates Ablaze, because the Gates decks are really, really popular right now. It's not going to work. It's just going to kill all their shit. So, moving on, because this is a really lengthy deck breakdown. I'm sorry. We have 2 copies of Tristani Discordant. Obviously, this is going to make all of your tokens a lot better, getting +1/+1. Also, whenever it enters the field, it's going to give you 2 1/1 white soldier creature tokens with lifelink, so obviously that's pretty good in and of itself. And then at the beginning of your end step, each player gains control of all creatures they own. So say you're going up against a Dimir deck, this is a very niche situation. Nonetheless, they hostage taker your Tendershoot Dryad, or they hostage taker your Biogenic Ooze, and they play it back down. Tristani Discordant, whenever you play it down, essentially that Biogenic Ooze, that Tendershoot Dryad, is just going to come back to your side of the board, which is really, really nice. And like I said, it's a really niche time that would happen, and it's super rare that you're going to play your Tristani after they play their hostage taker and have taken your Biogenic Ooze, right? That's very, very specific, but it does still happen sometimes, so it is still nice to, I guess, have that third little effect on there. And then lastly, we have March of the Multitudes, which again was sort of the base idea along with Spore Swarm and Wilderness Reclamation for this deck. We're just trying to cast out a lot of tokens at instant speed, and we can definitely do it. And obviously I don't have any more mythic wild cards to up this from a 2 count, otherwise I would probably spend it, because the amount of times that I've used March of Multitudes in a deck is just insane. I absolutely love this card. So yeah, that's going to be the deck tech or the deck breakdown, and we're going to hop right into the games. Alrighty, and here we are in game 1 up against Brutal Ben. Hopefully we can pull out a victory here. It's an alright hand. We're gonna need to draw some in order to really make it work, but it's not bad. We may have to throw out the Saproling Migration unkicked, which is unfortunate, but you know, just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. Or not, considering we just got another plains and we can play a Gift of Paradise next turn. Yeah, I think I'd rather do that. And that way, if we do play Saproling Migration and play it out unkicked, we can at least get the card draw from Mentor of the Meek. Oh, quick little note there. I always make this mistake. I should put that Gift of Paradise on the plains, on my second plains instead of my only forest. So that was a mistake by me. A Simic Morrowind deck. I can't really say much, as I tend to make some very janky decks myself, but that seems a bit odd, yeah? Simic Morrowind? Simic Ascendancy? Maybe a Simic Ascendancy on elves? Sure. Sure. Sounds cool. Okay, so we're one away from kicking this out. Do we go ahead and play it and just get the 2 card draw? I think we do. Of course, we can go ahead and play Biogenic Ooze, right? And then that just puts us ahead. Let's try for the Ooze. We won't be able to get any card draw, but a turn 4 Biogenic Ooze is still pretty good, so we'll go ahead and swing in for the 2. Now, hopefully we can get a Wilderness Reclamation soon, and then we can start pumping out 2 Oozes every turn, 1 on ours, 1 on theirs. Oh. Nice. We may just have to take a Simic Ascendancy here, depending on how quickly he can ramp it. Yeah, because that's going to give him 2 more charges. Then he only needs 17 more procs for it, which seems like a lot, but it's really not, so... And I don't think we just attack straight up here either. It's only going to leave me with 2 mana. If I throw that out, unless I tap the Mentor of the Meek, in which case it'd leave me with 3 mana. Tap Mentor of the Meek, tap a Ooze. Leaves me with 4 mana, 5 mana if I play this. Tell you what. We'll tap, and doesn't really matter what color we do here, so we'll tap that out as well. And we are going to take away his Simic Ascendancy. Or... I guess a case could be made here for the Biogenic Ooze. Yeah, I guess we gotta take the Ooze. I don't know, I want to take the Ascendancy because I could see him definitely getting it all the way stacked up on us, but yeah. And I'm going to try and play a little bit faster as his Ascendancy is stacking quite a bit. So we're going to go and play the Saproling Migration unkick there. We'll pay the 1, get the 1 card draw. We get a land, which isn't the best, but that's okay. And of course, we're not going to trade our Biogenic Ooze for one of his petty slimes. So next turn, our Oozes are stronger than him and stronger than his Morrowind, so we could potentially swing in and ooh, him just casting Precognitive Perception on his turn and casting all his mana out could be a little dangerous for him. Oh, we do have Pride of Conquerors, which could allow us to get no, it could allow us to sneak in some extra damage. Sorry, sometimes it feels like I'm literally just saying dribble, like it's not even words or any of that. It's it's just a bunch of sound effects. Alright, what can you do with 1 mana? 1 blue mana besides like Opt or Spell Pierce or Dive Down. What do you... Oh, okay, he tapped Marwyn. Alright, I mean, that's fair enough, but now he only has 1 defender. Oh, another land. That's super unfortunate. Okay, so how much do we have? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I can play Pride of Conquerors, but I'll need this to come out untapped if I want to be able to play Join Shields next turn, which I probably do, right? Or I can just make another green ooze creature token and play Pride of Conquerors, and I'll worry about him removing my Biogenic Ooze. Yeah, sure. You know what? We are gonna pay the 1 here, and then I'll just throw down that land. Okay. I'll just draw a land is what I meant to say, and then play Pride of Conquerors after I swing in with everybody. Of course, he's gonna try and kill Mentor the Meek or a Saproling or something. And then I'm gonna throw out Pride of Conquerors and just kill his ooze and decimate him in the face to pick up a swift game 1 victory. That was actually a lot easier. I didn't even like do the math because I didn't think I had lethal there. So the game took me a little bit by surprise as well. Nonetheless, we're gonna move on to a game 2 here. Alrighty, and here we are up against Cypher 618. Another interesting hand. We do have a Wilderness Reclamation starting out in this hand, so probably just going to keep it. And a Dawn of Hope as well, so if we do manage to get our mana up and the Wilderness Reclamation out, we will have something to pump with it, so that's good. Incubation Druid coming down. Unblockable Formation is excellent, but we're really going to need to get at least 1 more land draw in order to start making our stuff work. He's already up to 4 mana, which does slightly scare the shit out of me, yeah, because now he's up to Spore Swarm. And we still didn't manage to draw out that, you know what, I am going to seal away his Incubation Druid. We didn't manage to draw out that other land we were looking for, so we really need it on this turn, or we're gonna be behind. Maybe I should have played Dawn of Hope there, but either way, it's okay. Actually, why didn't I play Dawn of Hope on turn 2? I was just looking forward to Wilderness Reclamation that much. All right, so we will get a Dawn of Hope out. He's gonna deal a lot more damage to me on this turn. That's okay. And we're going to get out Wilderness Reclamation on our next turn because it will still allow us to play Spore Swarm on their following turn. So, Sorrow Form Hybrid. So obviously this guy's just trying to play a green deck, doing a lot of damage. Super unfortunate. Okay, yeah, so throw down Wilderness Reclamation. Our instep hits, all our lands untapped, and now we can play Spore Swarm. Sort of catch him off guard. Although, to be fair, if he swings in with all of his units again, we may have a bit of a problem. Yeah. Alright. Let's go ahead and kill the Sorrow Form Hybrid, and I guess we kill one of his tokens. He's still getting 6 damage through? Wow, that's great. Or no, 5 damage through, I'm sorry. We'll be down to 6 health. We'll be down to 6 health. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. That's alright. So unfortunately we can't kick it out as we can't afford to. Just super unfortunate. I'm thinking about going ahead and Unbreakable Formation though. We'll still be able to cast Join Shields on their turn. Although we may want to cast Dawn of Hope to get a third defender out. Yeah, I'm gonna wait on the Unbreakable Formation. That could have just been the death of me, though. We'll have to see. Can't pump him. Rabid Bite, huh? Alright, so we're still going to go down to 3 after he swings in this turn, which is super unfortunate. So we did have to play our Join Shields on our Sporelings just so we wouldn't absolutely lose. Actually, you know what? We probably just could have played a Lifelink Soldier token there. Either way, it'll be alright. So we do go down to 3. Gift of Paradise, hallelujah. We managed to pull something out. Okay, so throw this down on one of our extra forest. Pay 2 and draw. Well, we only have 3 mana and we can't really do anything with that anyway, so we might as well, right? We drew out another land. That's actually not bad. We're not gonna swing in. Oh, well, I wanted to try and stop it on the instep there, but I guess that's okay to just not. Alright, so we'll go ahead and create a 1/1 creature token. We do have Unbreakable Formation if we need to keep our creatures alive, which it's looking like the end of the game here. Okay, so yeah, we're just gonna have to finish this game out and then that'll be the end of game 2. Alright, so we're down to 3 health. This is not looking good. Oh no. Alright, enter tapped. Get out another lifelink creature token, I guess. No attacks. And we'll get out another one right here. And another one. Alrighty, I think we're gonna end up losing this game. Unfortunately. And this probably will be our, I guess, our only game, because the maintenance is gonna take quite a while and I do have work today, so this may be it for the deck, which is super unfortunate because I'm actually really enjoying this deck. What is that? 6 attackers and I have 6 defenders, so I can let one get through. I can kill him and let the Yavimaya get through. It's not fantastic, but we are still going up in life. Alrighty, and we're taking out one of his creatures. Dawn of Hope getting several procs there. I don't think it can really keep up with the Tendershoot Dryad as far as creating Sporelings goes, which is super unfortunate. So maybe we'll draw into a Settle here. Settle the Wreckage would be fantastic. Or hell, even a Conclave Tribunal or Seal Away. Actually, I think I took this Settle the Wreckage out of this deck now that I'm thinking about it. Oh, and we got our own copy of Tendershoot. I mean... this is awkward. Because his Tendershoot is just gonna beat ours. He has what, 6 tokens out plus the Yavimaya plus the Tendershoot. That's 8 attackers, and I got 1. I'll have 2, 3 defenders, 4 defenders maybe. Yeah, 4 defenders. Probably gonna be over here. He should swing in with all 5 of his Saprolings and his 4/4 and his Yavimaya. So what is that? 5 plus 1, 6, 7, and I got 3 defenders. Just don't attack. Just don't attack and make it easy. Unfortunately, Regenesis isn't going to really help us out here. So don't do any math. Don't figure it up. Just don't attack. Trust me. Okay, he's going to swing in with everybody, or not. Alrighty. So we can actually we're gonna lose this no matter what. So 3 attackers have to get through. We can go up to 7 health, but there's no combination where we can block out to 7. So we'll throw down a GG, and that'll be a game 2 loss going to a Tendershoot Dryad deck that managed to ramp up and out harder than we could. That's okay. Alrighty, yeah, so I can no longer play any more games, which is super unfortunate. I'll probably be down for about an hour or so, and by that time I'll be at work. So I am going to go ahead and just cut it there. Electro Dominance, excellent. At least open the pack for you guys. Give you some kind of rewards for, I guess, what's going to be a super short video. Nonetheless, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like down below. I may end up coming back to this deck tomorrow, seeing as how, well, we got 2 games. They were decent games, 1 victory, 1 loss, both semi-interesting. So yeah, if you enjoyed, leave a like down below, leave a comment in the comment section if you have anything you'd like to say on this deck, future decks, past decks. You guys know the whole spill by now. If you don't, welcome to the channel. And lastly, if you enjoyed, be sure to subscribe. We're looking to hit that 1,000 subscriber mark before the end of the year, and I think we can do it. So got a lot of faith in you guys. Nonetheless, as always, I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.